Hey YouTubers, glad you can join me for another edition of my October horror film spotlight video movie month. I know I kind of messed that up a little bit, but you guys get the picture anyway. So what I got in store for you this time, guys? Well, I got an old film, one of John Carpenter's early films. I believe it's one of his early films, and it is John Carpenter's The Fog. Yes, this movie came out in, I believe it was in 1980. It was directed, of course, by John Carpenter, and it stars Adrienne Barbeau as well as Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, give you a quick synopsis. Basically, it takes place in the town of Antonio Bay, and basically, what happens is that there's this mysterious fog that kind of starts off at sea. So there's several instances during the beginning of the film where certain boats are, kind of gets engulfed by the fog, and the people on the boats are all, killed by a mysterious entity, and you begin to slowly find out that it's actually, pirates, like ghost pirates that are coming back, but nobody really knows why. Like, why is this happening? Why are they coming here? And eventually the fog actually makes it into, the coastal town of Antonio Bay, and people are trying to scramble around trying to figure out why it's happening, and people are getting killed left and right. And the two things that we are left with is basically Adrienne Barbeau, who is up at the lighthouse because that's basically where she has her radio talk show, and she's up there trying to warn people about the fog that's coming in, and she gets trapped there. And then you have Jamie Lee Curtis's character who ends up, at the church with the priest, and you begin to, that's where, the true, mystery finally begins to unravel as to why the pirates are coming in. And to kind of make the long story short, basically the reason why the pirates are there was because of the forefathers of the town kind of like double crossed the pirates and took their gold. So basically, it's the pirates now coming back from the dead, wanting to take revenge on, the ancestors of the people that betrayed them in the first place. Not the ancestors, but the relatives of them, and it happens to be some of the characters that we end up following throughout the entire film. So you find out everything that's going on there, and the pirates start, killing everybody that's responsible. And unfortunately, there's some people that had nothing to do with anything that are also caught in the middle of the killing as well. But overall, man, this is probably one of the films that kind of creep me out the most, particularly because of the soundtrack, especially that loud, kind of loud banging noise or drumming noise that you hear. Not really like drumming, but I'm gonna say that it's kind of like drumming because that's what it kind of sounds like. And it happens every time when the pirates are about to, or when the fog is beginning to slowly appear, and especially when it starts to kind of envelope the entire town. It starts off very low, and it just keeps on, getting louder and louder and louder. And I remember as a kid, watching and hearing that, and it used to creep me out a lot because I used to think, oh my goodness, is something gonna come out, jump out, from a closet somewhere and attack me as well. So, but overall, I mean, it was things like that kind of made this movie, like, really scary for me, and it was really effective because it just made me, become all tense and nervous about what was gonna happen. But again, overall, I mean, this movie is great. I mean, you don't get to see the ghost pirates, or zombies for all intents and purposes anyway, because that's what they are anyway. I mean, you don't see them a lot on screen, right? But the few instances that you do, they're actually pretty creepy, and the things that they do in order to kill some of their victims is actually pretty creepy as well, and it's pretty good. But overall, this is definitely something that, a lot of people should definitely have in their, horror collection. And again, it's kind of like a cult classic. A lot of people really love this film a lot. Even though I kind of read somewhere saying that John Carpenter has said that this wasn't, really like, one of his best films. He kind of calls it kind of like a minor cult classic, you know. But regardless of that, I mean, it's still really good. It's still a really good film. It's still, it still holds up in terms of having that tension, especially again with that background music. Every time the fog rolls in, that was, kind of really makes it really feel scary and stuff like that. I know that they remade this movie, a couple of years ago, and I remember seeing that movie. I mean, I didn't see it in its entirety; I just saw bits and pieces of it, and I thought, it just wasn't. It couldn't compare to the original on any level. I mean, I don't even remember much about, how, the story or premise of the remake, if it compares in any way, shape, or form to the original, because I just thought it was awful. I really didn't like it a lot. I, mean, I loved and preferred the original, for a lot of reasons, and for a number of other films too that have remakes. I prefer the original. In some instances, the remake actually I do say is pretty good as well. But for this one, the original Fog is the best. I loved it. So definitely, guys, you know, if you don't have this movie, you should definitely get it. If you haven't watched this, or you only seen the remake version of The Fog, you should definitely watch this one, the original version, because it's really, really good. I really did enjoy it, guys. All right, so definitely The Fog by John Carpenter. All right, guys. So again, as always, thanks for joining me. Give it a thumbs up. Leave me comments on what you think, and I'll catch you next time. All right, guys.